Lindsay, fast and furiously, who we got up next?
Well, hi, it's Stacy joining us next.
Oh, my God, there he is.
There he is.
Flesh.
How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm shaking hands on the air.
Good to see
Good
you.
to see you, too.
Now, let me tell you, I've got a bone to pick.
Okay.
Here we go.
What did we do now?
Well, it's what you didn't do.
Okay.
And Stacy Elms,
minutes.
Director of Risk Management. Housley is the one who donated the Louis Vuitton bags.
Yes.
Travel last night, and I did not win it.
Well, I'm sorry.
And by win, I mean I paid money to be in that raffle.
One wasn't given to her, is what she means.
Well, apparently you didn't buy enough tickets.
I guess not. And I thought that I bought. Listen, for me, I bought a lot because I'm cheap when it comes to that kind of thing. So for me, here's the good news. I knew that putting that money in, and I know this is why you guys donated it back in all seriousness. It goes to the TXTA Foundation. I knew that even if I didn't win, I'll be mad about it forever. Even if I didn't win, my money went toward.
Hold on to it like a badge of honor.
I will. It went toward the
Furnish
foundation and helping new drivers and students get educated and scholarships.
And we will probably do something similar next year. So when you come back next year, put a little bit more in, and maybe you'll get it.
I will. But can I just put a little? I guess I didn't earmark my ticket enough. Was the thing.
No, they're going to have the annual Lindsay Lawler does not get a Louis Vuitton bag.
No. Oh no. Well, welcome. Glad to have you this morning, Stacy.
Glad to be here. Thanks.
We somehow managed to work in exactly what we're here for in the midst of all your greed, Lindsay.
I know,
We somehow managed to make that work. Let's start off about why TXTA is so important and why you keep on coming back.
For us as a private fleet, being able to stay up on regulations and newer technology, and also being able to interface with the regulatory people, especially the folks at DPS and Commercial Vehicle Enforcement, is important to us. They really are an advocate for safe driving, safe truckers, safe companies, and for us that's important. So
yeah, and can you also talk about your own involvement here, because you've played a lot of roles over the years.
I have,
TXTA, and have a real understanding of its ins and outs, and why it's important from both an inside view and why it's important to so many folks out there who have trucking companies, big and small, across Texas. Talk about your own involvement here.
We started back in the early 2000s, and it was because at that time our business was growing. We had never done heavy construction before, and one of our aerial trucks got pulled over for a roadside inspection. We didn't have a carrier ID number. We were not registered with TXDOT. We had no maintenance records. We didn't know what we were supposed to do. So out of that was a compliance review, and the compliance review officer at that time, when he went through all of our records, he said, I see that y'all are trying to do the right thing. And he said, you're the kind of people that we want to help. And he said, the best thing that you can do is get involved with TMTA. That's what it was at that time. And so we came to one of the annual conferences in San Antonio, and that got us started, and I've been involved ever since.
Yeah, and that's such an important thing too. And by the way, we've seen them. All the Rangers are here, the state troopers are here, folks are here. Establishing good relationships with law enforcement and with people who do compliance and figuring out the rules and regulations. Sometimes simply being here and having the conversation, you actually are in a position to prevent what happened to you from happening to anybody else. And you
Without
also,
a doubt.
And by the way, it's the gospel story of Christ talking to the adulteress at the end, when it's like, go and sin no more.
Yeah.
You got the go and sin no more
We
moment.
got to go and sin no more, and we try to do that. Sometimes we slip up, but hey, we're willing to take the heat for that, and if we're doing something wrong, we want to know about it.
Well, it's amazing. Go ahead, Lindsay.
Well, I was just going to say, I mean, my Pollyanna side of things, intention is everything. And it's like we were talking with somebody earlier about we learn through failing, unfortunately, but that's part of it. And we don't want to fail when it comes to the transportation industry, but we do want to learn and evolve. And so, yes, partnerships, but also being aware. It goes, not only is that partnership with TXTA, but it goes back to the Louis Vuitton bag. All things lead to that. That was your way of also being involved in knowing the scholarship program. If you're going to learn, you're learning just as much as the new guy coming into this. You've been doing this a very long time, are learning with also the people we're training. And I think that's kind of a cool way to bridge the gap between the younger and the older generations, being like, I know what I know and I can teach it, but I also need to learn from you. We need these new people coming up. So I say that because the foundation here and what they're doing to train up the new people, and why I would assume see it as so important.
Oh,
as bridging
absolutely.
the gap.
You bet. Yes. And not only on the foundation side, when the foundation really was started, it was more geared toward academic scholarships,
Yeah.
and it still is. This past year, we gave away $115,000 in academic scholarships, but over time, we've learned that training new drivers, training new mechanics, welders, those kinds of things that directly support our industry is also important. So we've begun to shift focus a little bit on the foundation to also include scholarships for drivers and mechanics and people that are working hands-on in the industry every day.
Do you know that there are people who are getting CDLs, going to VOTEC schools and getting CDLs while getting an associate's degree in Spanish?
Sure.
That there are these people who actually are putting together they're almost putting together a series of different electives that lead up to a career.
And that's enormously important.
And in that way, what you guys are doing really is helpful, because somebody can, look, sometimes they get the full ride, but sometimes they get the last mile.
Yeah.
Sometimes all you guys are really providing is, we can almost get them there. We're going to have to give them heartbreaking news. No, wait a minute. That last $2,000, $3,000 that we can't afford, we've gotten from them, and we can get the kid across the finish line.
And those trade and technical scholarships are becoming more and more important for us. Over the last 18 months, we're over $100,000 in just trade and technical scholarships as well. And that shift in focus will probably continue. And the academic scholarships may become a little bit less important for the foundation. The trade and technical scholarships may become a little bit more important.
Well, as we get more hands-on, I mean, I think that's just the way people are learning are different, and the way what's prioritized and what it's not. It used to be growing up, but I never even thought about what I was going to do. Of course, I was going to go off to college and have the XYZ degree, but I think it's shifting back. Everything old is new again. The future was yesterday. But that's all coming back. And last night, a milestone. We hit over like $317,000.
Over $300,000 raised for the foundation last night. Our best year.
It was
specifically
crazy.
that goes all that money for the future.
Yep, absolutely.
Well, it's crazy. I say it again. I looked at Mr. Craddock and I said, "Good night," and I said, "I mean that both ways."
Oh yeah.
And it was a great reminder of the generosity of the folks here. That even in the toughest of times, they're out there.
Even in the toughest of times when I'm not winning the Louis Vuitton bag.
It never happens again. Look, we're going to run out of time here, so we got to make sure. Is there anything that you wanted to cover and touch on before we shuffle off this radio coil?
Yeah, I think I'd like to shift focus for just a minute.
Please.
Get away from the foundation for just a second.
Sure.
Let's talk about our advocacy on behalf of the trucking industry as it relates to our legislative work. We just finished up a regular session for the Texas legislature this time around.
So everybody can breathe a sigh of relief.
Yeah, well, they're in special session now, but thankfully it doesn't have anything to do with what we're working on. So the next session will be in 27. So we had a couple of wins this time around, some stuff that we had been working on for a long time. We tried to narrow the gap on tort reform a little bit. We weren't successful this time around, but we'll bring it back up in the next session. But a couple of bills that we had that we really didn't expect to go anywhere got passed through. One that is kind of an odd one, but it's one that we've been working on for over a decade and finally got it through the legislature, was a tax rebate for trucking companies on fuel taxes for stuff that doesn't apply as an on-the-road vehicle. So an APU, fuel for a reefer on a refrigerated unit, PTOs on vocational trucks. For a long time, our companies have paid taxes on that road fuel when it doesn't have anything to do with driving up and down the highway. So we were really happy about that.
Never happens. People are never appropriating money for roads that go someplace else.
Certainly not. We also are really happy about the relationships that we're forging with the new Secretary of Transportation, Sean Duffy. He has already been down here to one of our events, and we think that he's going to be a really good listener and possibly an advocate for us. If we can at least get the federal government to listen to what our problems are as trucking companies, then we think that we can tell our story in an effective way, and we can get some assistance from the federal government.
On that tip, then, when you go in, maybe this will be my dumb question number 5. We'll see.
Lindsay's question of the day, dumb number 3.5.
When you go in, and it's because you said we had some wins, not everything. We didn't get on tort reform, but we'll see that one next time. Is it sort of a quantity over quality type of thing? You're like, yeah, can you really go in and focus on what the win was in honesty and be like, yeah, we didn't have those, but let's focus on this win. We can table those for later. I mean, I would think that'd be a hard balance to not look at what everything went wrong and be like, let's celebrate this.
It is. You take the wins when you can get them. If you do have something that you don't get over the finish line, you step back and you say, okay, well, why did this not go through? Why didn't we get this accomplished? And so you kind of refocus and figure out what you change, what you work with with the legislature to make sure that the next time around you get a little bit better hearing, and you make the contacts, and you tell the story so that it's then important for those legislators to help you out.
Yeah, so does that story, let's say next time, like say on tort reform specifically, we go back and we tweak, I assume you look at, as you said, why did it not work? And then when you make those tweaks, so when you go back and tell the story, I mean, is that sort of a something that you would highlight when you go back? But listen, we realize it didn't go through the past 10 times or whatever it is, but we're here to discuss why. And is that an open conversation then?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And that's good. I think that's one of the good things about the Texas legislature. Thankfully they only meet every other year, so they're not there doing business all the time. So they're in session, they leave, they get to go back into their districts and live with the legislation that got passed that now they have to hear from their constituents about. And there's always an open conversation, at least between us and those legislators, and they listen, they understand. Do our visions always align? No, but let's figure out how we can tweak that and adjust some of our vision versus some of your vision, and maybe then those alliances meet.
That makes sense. And then English language regulations, which we haven't hit on yet. And I actually heard, I'm trying to remember who I was talking to about it, but heard it, that's a tricky one because we want to support our Hispanic-speaking truck drivers. We want to support anyone coming in when we look at drivers. But also, when you realize that the English language proficiency, the reason we're talking about it is from a safety perspective.
Certainly.
If you don't understand that sign on the road because you don't speak the language, that affects everybody on the road. This isn't trying to single you out for not speaking English.
Right.
It's literally a safety thing
Certainly.
At the end of the day, right?
Yes, absolutely. And that was one of the reasons why Secretary Duffy was down here to listen to what we had to say about the English proficiency regulation. It's
hard to say it even if you speak
English. It kind of is, yeah. and also the fraudulent CDL issue. We've really been impacted by that here in Texas with guys that go to, an online truck driving school, or, they go to a flea market and you can buy what looks like a valid CDL and now you're a truck driver. Well, not entirely. The English language provision has been in the regulations for decades.
Sure.
It's always been there, but at different times through different administrations, that regulation wasn't necessarily enforced, and it's become an issue. And Secretary Duffy was really helpful in us helping him understand that regulation needs to be enforced, and it's not. They're
not hand in hand, really.
Yes, they are.
Right?
I mean, it is absolutely for the safety of the public. It's also for the safety of the troopers that are enforcing those regulations. If you can't explain to that driver, and that driver can't explain to you what the regulation is, that's a real safety issue. That's a hazard.
One sec. There we go. Thank you. On Nemo Nation, we just had the Mr. Singh, head of the Punjabi Institute, the Punjabi Truck Drivers Association. They are absolutely 100% in favor of the proficiency.
Sure.
It's important for people to understand this is not an issue of how your accent. This isn't an issue of targeting people. This is really about making sure the world is a safer place.
Absolutely, and we need good truck drivers. We're 70,000 drivers short in the U.S., even with kind of a depressed freight market. So the more people that we can get in and get behind the wheel of those trucks that are proficient in English, that have the proper training, that understand the rules and regulations so that they can operate that equipment safely, that's our bread and butter. That's what we have to have.
We were almost out of time here, so I kind of wanted to just ask one more question. What do you do for fun when you come to Texas? No, I mean when you come to TXTA.
I've gotten so involved in the association, I really don't have a lot of fun time when I come down here.
You're not just having Mai Tais out in the pool the whole conference?
No, I wish that were the case. But my day started pretty early on yesterday with my first meeting, and I've had meetings all day yesterday, and frankly, I got meetings all day today.
You answered the question perfectly, by the way, because Lindsay and I and Tara were talking about this. We did an event last week for our new studio, and a friend of mine walked by me and he said, "Are you having a good time?" And I went, "Absolutely not." He says, "Are you happy?" I said, "I'm completely happy."
Yeah,
and that's kind of it. You're not here to have a good time. It may happen as a residual. What you're really here is make sure everybody else is having a good time.
You bet. And there's always a little fun mixed in. It's usually after all the meetings are over with, so you do get a chance to have a cocktail with some friends and see some people that you only get to see once a year.
Like last night when I didn't win the Louis Vuitton bag.
I could feel it.
Always back to that.
I just pointed at her and said 3-2 Vuitton. There we go. Thank you so much. It's great to see you again, brother.
Great to see y'all too. Glad that you're here.
You can head on over to HousleyGroup.com and find out more. Stacy Elms, the Director of Risk Management, always now a pleasure. Always for the first
Always
time.
great to have y'all here.
It's always a pleasure to see you. Okay.